If I had to start over again and make my first $10,000 as fast as possible, I would do it by going on Facebook Marketplace and finding the best deals possible on used tech, more specifically used iPhones. And then I would take those phones and I would continue to resell them on a platform like eBay for a profit. Believe it or not, that's not actually a hypothetical. I literally documented myself last year on this channel, starting out with only $100, and I was able to turn that $100 into $10,000 flipping used iPhones on Facebook Marketplace. And I was actually able to do it in 1 month. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys the blueprint on how you could make your first $10,000 flipping iPhones. If you're new here, this is a quick 60-second crash course on how exactly phone flipping works. So the main thing that allows you to make money flipping phones is that you need to learn the market values of phones so that you know how to spot a good deal when a good deal comes up. The easiest way to do this is you're gonna wanna go on eBay and search for the specific model you are looking to potentially buy. Then you're just gonna scroll down, you're gonna filter based on sold listings. So this is gonna show you listings that have actually sold in the past and what they sold for. And you're gonna find ideally 3 other listings that are as similar as possible to the phone you're potentially looking to buy. Make sure they're the same model, the same storage, same condition. So if it's cracked, find another cracked one. If it has scratches, find one with similar scratches. Just find 3 comparable listings as similar as possible to the one you were looking to buy. Then you're just gonna take those numbers, you're gonna put them into an eBay fee calculator individually, and then you're gonna take the average of those 3 numbers, which is going to be the amount of money you would actually get for that phone after it sells on eBay. Then all you have to do is you have to go on Facebook Marketplace and find phones priced below that price that you could buy and then flip for a profit on eBay. Literally everyone has a used phone of some sort. People are buying and selling those used phones every single day, and it is a ginormous market. There's no shortage of transactions going on in this market. If you get good at spotting a good deal early and you get good at making offers and negotiating and know how to get a phone for below market value, and you literally make it your job to get the best deals on used phones possible, and you essentially just also make it your job to learn how to sell phones for the most amount of money possible, there's absolutely no shortage in how much profit you can make doing this. That being said, I'm not here to convince you on if phone flipping works. If you need to be convinced, watch literally any of my other videos where I've shown myself buying and reselling phones on camera with screenshots and receipts and everything you could possibly want to be convinced that this works. So you're probably thinking, that's sick, but I don't have enough money to buy a whole bunch of used phones. What's cool about phone flipping is you can get started with very little money. One, because there's a bunch of really cheap phones that you could buy for well under $100 that you could start flipping that are more than profitable enough. But 2, even if somehow you have $0 to your name, I'm gonna be showing you guys a way that you could get started with as little as $0 and start making profit right away. And the best part about phone flipping is literally from your very first flip, you are going to be making profit, meaning you are putting more money in your bank account than you had before you started this side hustle. There's no testing ads or testing products or dumping money into building a brand or anything else like that. Literally right from the start, when you get started doing this, you can start making profit right away. You're not gonna be rich right away, but you're actually in the profit and you're making money as you learn how to do this. And I don't know about you, but I personally think any business that actually puts more money in your bank account is probably a good first business to start. So I just quickly want to break down what $10,000 actually looks like in terms of phones you would have to flip, because I think when you break it down, it's actually a lot more realistic and a lot more doable than you would think. We're going to do some very simple math here. We're going to assume that you're just doing average flips. You're very realistic, $100 profit flip. Very realistic, you'll get a lot of flips that are more than this, but it's simple math, it's the easiest number. If you wanna make $10,000, that means you need to do 100 flips for $100 profit. Again, you're regularly gonna get $150, $200, even more flips if you're actually out there flipping, but simple math will do $100. If you wanted to do it in a month, that would represent roughly 3 phones a day would probably get you to your first $10,000. Most of you probably don't have the skill set right when you're starting or the funds to buy that many phones your very first month. So let's give you a nice generous 3 months to make your first $10,000. It would literally take you just over one flip every single day to make your first $10,000 in 90 days. Again, not assuming any crazy flips or anything like that, just your basic, regular, consistent $100 profit flips. You just gotta buy one a day. And that's just for your first $10,000, which is the hardest $10,000 to make by far. So if that feels long, it only gets easier from there. All right, so that's all fine and good, but how do we actually start buying those phones and how do we actually start getting some deals? So to flip 100 phones, you're going to need to flip your first phone. I'm gonna go into this assuming that you have at least enough money to buy one phone. If you don't worry. I'm gonna go over how you could get started with literally $0 a little bit later in the video. So going into the very first deal, you literally just need to do it. You need to rip the Band-Aid off as soon as possible and actually get out there and buy a phone that you're gonna be flipping. As far as which models that you should start with, you could flip anything as your first flip, but a very good starting point would probably be anything as old as an iPhone 6S or as new as, I'd say, no newer than an iPhone 11 or maybe an iPhone 12. Try to keep it below like $150 for your first flip. Make it a very low risk initial investment. I would highly recommend trying to do something pretty cheap to get started. It's very straightforward. You're gonna go on Facebook Marketplace. You're going to look for those model phones, whichever one you decide to look for. I'd recommend any of those as long as you could find a good priced one. And you're just gonna try to find a phone that you could either negotiate down to or just buy at a price that is below what that model sells for on eBay. In this first stage, we're not gonna worry about how long it takes, how efficient it is, how scalable you think it's gonna be. You're not gonna get good at flipping phones and be able to be efficient at flipping phones until you've actually put some reps in, bought some phones, and actually flipped some phones. I can't stress this enough. Before you keep researching and watch a million videos on phone flipping, just go and try to buy one phone you could flip for a profit. Don't overthink it. It is such a simple process for your first flip. And the momentum from that first flip is gonna give you so much more motivation and is gonna make you believe in this process and this side hustle a lot more. Once you start buying these first flips, you're going to need to find somewhere to sell them. This is actually the one thing where my advice has changed a little bit since I originally started making these videos and since I actually went out and started with $100 and turned it into 10,000. In the past, my advice was always just go on eBay. eBay is the best option. It's the best platform to do it. And I still think that is 100% true. But when you're starting out with limited funds, I get it. Sometimes waiting for a payout, building up your account, some of the stuff that comes along with being new on eBay does make it a bit more difficult to sell on. So only for your first flips, I'd say sell wherever you want. You could sell back on Facebook Marketplace. You could sell on OfferUp. You can and should still list them on eBay to try to get the sale, but sell however you'd like. Just universally, all that matters on all these platforms is that you make a very good quality listing with all the details about the phone and good quality pictures, and you price it at a point where you can make some good profit on the phone and it's still gonna sell in a reasonable amount of time. That being said, I do think if you wanna make the most money and scale this, the best place possible to do that is accessible for everyone is eBay, and that is gonna be your best option. There's a lot more people to sell to. Realistically, it's the only place that you could really scale this because as soon as you get over like 3 phones a day, it's really hard to be picking the phones up and somehow setting up local meetups to meet up with people. Overall, it's not realistic that you're gonna be able to scale this unless you use something like eBay. So now that you got your first flips under your belt, how do you actually go ahead and turn that into your first $10,000? Well, you can start with very little money and get started and make profit right away in this business. There's no hiding from the fact that the number one thing that is gonna increase how much money you could make reselling iPhones is the amount of money you have that you could invest into new inventory. In the $10,000 per month example, you're buying 2 to 4 phones every single day. If If you want to do that, not only do you need the money to be able to buy those 2 to 4 phones on Monday, but you also need money on Tuesday to keep buying phones while you wait for Monday's phones to sell. And then you need to be able to continue to do that for Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. And to make a good income doing this, you do need some money to do that. If you already have some money set aside and you can do that right away, that's great. You got a head start. You can get straight into it and start making some good money. If you don't, then what you need to do is whenever you flip a phone, you need to take the profits from that flip. You need to reinvest all your money back into more flips until you have enough money to make the desired amount of income you're going for. Whether that's 100K or in this case, just your first 10K. Money from your flips is going to need to be reinvested back into the business. So what if you have $0 to your name? I doubt it. You can buy phones for like 20 bucks. I assume most people can get $20 in some capacity, but what if you only have $0? I'm going to be showing you guys a method that I think you should try that still will allow you to get started doing this with as little as $0. If you have more than $0, I still think you should do this, and it probably works a little bit better if you actually have some money. This is borrowed from Alex Hormozi's $100 million leads. It's not my own idea, but it applies extremely well to flipping your first phones. So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go into your phone and you're going to get your contacts out. You use your contacts in your phone, you use your contacts on Instagram, on Facebook. All of these things are people you could potentially reach out to. So you're gonna go through your contact list and you're gonna send them this simple text message. You're gonna message them, you're gonna say, hey, Aunt Linda, hope you've been well, and you're gonna let them know. I recently started a new business where I'm selling used iPhones online. To get started in my business, I'm offering a service where I'm selling other people's phones on their behalf and taking a percentage of the final sale price as my fee. You're gonna specify in this text message that you can buy any phone in any condition between a 6S and a 15, whether it's broken or whatever the circumstances are. You're gonna specify that no matter the condition of the phone, that you could take it. And then you're also just gonna mention you do all the work, you get it sold for them, you ship it out, and you're confident you could get them a good price for their phone. I think you'll be surprised how many people have a iPhone 6 or an iPhone 8 or whatever just sitting in their drawer that they have no desire to sell, that they might even just give to you to start your business, depending on how close they are. But even more than that, there is going to be a lot of people in your contact list that are more than willing to let you sell a phone on their behalf that they would have never listed on Facebook Marketplace. And you're gonna be helping them out. They're gonna be very stoked to get that phone sold and get some extra money. And you're now gonna be making a profit from those phones that you could then use to start your own flipping business. It's gonna be uncomfortable. But now, when you comment telling me that you don't have money to start a phone flipping business, that comment doesn't stand anymore. What you should comment is, I am not willing to be uncomfortable for a period of time, and that's why I haven't started phone flipping yet. You can't tell me it's because you don't have enough money. And then after you go through your contact list and you inevitably get some phones, you're going to use the profits from those flips, you're gonna reinvest it back into the business, as I said before, and eventually you're gonna be rich.